kasi. Good morning, Malacanang Press Corps. Welcome sa regular press briefing ni Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Good morning, sir.
Morning. Our resource speaker for today is Commissioner Prospero de Vera of the Commission on Higher Education. Dr. de Vera is also an advisor of the Philippine Negotiating Panel with the National Democratic Front/Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army, and Commissioner of United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. He's a professor of public administration at the University of the Philippines and has served as its vice president for public affairs from 2011 to 2016. I had a very interesting conversation with him. Turns out he's very tech savvy. So, ladies and gentlemen of the Malacanang Press Corps, let us welcome CHED Commissioner Dr. Popoy de Vera. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I just wanted to announce that the 8.3 billion peso allocation for free public higher education is now being implemented. Last April 20, we signed the implementing rules and regulations for the 8 billion peso tuition assistance for all undergraduate students in 113 state universities and colleges all over the country. And last May 31, we signed an additional implementing rules and regulation for the 317 million fund to provide tuition assistance to medical students in 8 state universities and colleges all over the country. This 8 billion peso allocation for free undergraduate education is now being implemented in state universities and colleges that opened classes in June. The others are opening in August. And we are anticipating that as this will be implemented, we will see whatever problems will come out and will do the necessary adjustments for the different state universities and colleges. The 317 million tuition assistance for medical students is unique because it provides for a return service agreement. So the students who will apply will have to give back to the country as public service. For every year that they enjoy the tuition assistance, they have to stay in the country for 1 year. So it's a one-to-one return service agreement. And they can do the return service in various capacities, like do their residency in tertiary hospitals of the government. They can serve in provincial and district hospitals or even become doctors to the barrios. Yesterday, I was in a lunch meeting with the Dean of the College of Medicine of UP Manila, because UP Manila already has a return service agreement in place. So we're organizing a technical working group to draft the return service agreement for the other 6 state universities and colleges, basically using the UP Manila College of Medicine model. We need to work with the Department of Health to make sure that the transition of the students from medical school to their residency program is fast, so that they'll be accepted in government hospitals, and work with local government units so that those who want to serve at the local government hospitals, we can also facilitate their return service agreement. This medical students tuition assistance has no income requirement. So as long as you are enrolled in a medical school, you can apply for it. Now, you have to apply for it because there's a return service agreement. Meaning you don't want to do return service, then don't avail of the tuition assistance coming from government. So these are 8 state universities and colleges: Mariano Marcos State University in Ilocos Norte, University of Northern Philippines in Ilocos Sur, Cagayan State University in Region 2, Bicol University in Region 5, UP College of Medicine in Metro Manila, West Visayas State University in Iloilo, MSU in Iligan and Tawi-Tawi, and the UP School of Health Sciences in Leyte. We are expecting about 2,000 students currently enrolled in these medical programs as students who can avail of the program. Now, the last announcement is that the other day we also signed the implementing rules and regulations to provide an additional 5,000 peso financial assistance to public and private students enrolled in Yolanda-affected areas. So this appropriation of about 540 million is residual money coming from Yolanda funds that were not utilized in 2016. The Office of the President instructed CHED to expedite the use of this money. So we are ready to, we're sending notices to all the public and private universities in Yolanda-affected areas that the money will be available to them. So this will be disbursed by the universities to students as financial assistance starting this month, as soon as the necessary paperwork is done with the state universities and colleges. So that's the all the good news that we have as far as CHED is concerned this past couple of weeks. What else? As far as schools affected by the Marawi problem in terms of opening of their classes, MSU, Marawi, and Iligan opened their classes in August. So there's no big problem right now in terms of disruption, in terms of the opening of classes. The school authorities are working on it, monitoring what is happening. Right now in both campuses, there is a significant number of evacuees that they are managing. And I am in constant touch with President Habib Macaayong of MSU Marawi and Chancellor Socarno Tanggol of IIT. And we will provide the necessary assistance as needed if there are problems that they encounter as far as their students are concerned. CHED will be issuing in the next couple of days an advisory to all universities to immediately accept students coming from Marawi-affected areas if they want to transfer. This is like what we did in the case of Yolanda. We issued an advisory to the schools that they should accept transferees even with incomplete records. Immediately accept them in light of the problem that we are encountering in Marawi so that the records can come later. So we are issuing that advisory within this week. The Commission and Bank has already approved this particular advisory in its last meeting 3 days ago. So that's the good news so far. If there are questions on other CHED-related matters, I'm willing to answer.
Okay, Ina Andulong, CNN Philippines.
Good morning, sir. Just points of clarification, sir. How many students, sir, will benefit from the 8.3 billion peso allocation?
For the 8 billion pesos, we won't know until all the money is used up. Okay? The 8 billion amount was put together from the tuition receipts of the state universities and colleges. So this is the tuition they collected from in school year 2016-2017. So we are allocating the same amount that they collected in the previous year for academic year 2017-2018. The premise being that instead of the students paying for tuition, government will provide the money to the state universities so that they don't charge tuition anymore. Okay? There are anticipated problems because we found out that some universities underreported their tuition receipts. Okay? But that's not the problem of DBM in CHED. No? If they underreported, we can only give them what they reported as tuition receipts. So the President, in his budget instruction, said the money should give priority to poor but deserving students. Our definition of poor and deserving is You are deserving if you are a regular student in a state university or college, meaning you comply with the admission and retention requirements of that state university. Now, the poor component is income dependent. So the implementing rules and regulations provide that when students enroll in the enrollment form, there is indication of income and proof of income, and the money, the tuition assistance will be given starting from the poorest students going up. We are hoping that the money will cover all students. But if there is underreporting by the university, then we will make sure that the poor and deserving get it first. So in terms of how many in the end, we will only know it after the enrollment period has been completed. But the total, of course, if you look at enrollment in state universities and colleges, is that it's more than 1 million students all in all. So that's the potential pool of beneficiaries.
Meron din po ba, sir, prioritization in terms of the poorest provinces, maybe?
Wala.
Wala.
Because the instruction of the president was only poor but deserving students. So we have to comply with the instruction of the president.
Okay. And lastly, sir, yung 5,000 peso assistance, that's a one-time.
Yes, it's a one-time assistance. The students can use it to pay for their miscellaneous fees, to pay for their books, etc. It's a one-time cash assistance, long overdue because this is Yolanda related, but we're making sure we are able to expedite the release. So this is funds coming from the 2016 Yolanda Fund. There's no Yolanda Fund in the 2017 General Appropriations Act.
Questions, MPC? JP Bencito, Manila Standard.
Hi, Commissioner. Good morning. Sir, on another topic po sana, o yung dun sa re-inclusion po ng Filipino sa general education curriculum. Sir, can you just give us a background overview? Bakit natanggal before yung Filipino sa GE? Then, paano siya nabalik?
Okay. A little bit of history. Of course, this was before I got to CHED, so I can disavow any connection to it. There was a decision by the Commission during the Arroyo administration to take out the 6 to 9 units Filipino in the general education curriculum. This was in light really of internationalization, the idea that the advantage of Filipinos in the use of English should be given priority by government, and also in anticipation, eventually, of the K-12 program. The thinking being that Filipino can be downloaded to senior high, so you don't have to take it at the university level. That was the thinking then. The professors and supporters of the Filipino courses sought relief from the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court issued a temporary restraining order on the Commission to prohibiting it from implementing the policy of taking it out. Now, there's a little bit of how would you call that, oversight, so that when the Commission approved the PSGs, this is the curriculum for the new courses starting academic year 2018, medyo nakalimutan yung Filipino. Okay, and we are thankful for the groups who told us that there was a mistake in taking it out. So yesterday we had the meeting with the groups that are protesting, and the Commission has already issued a new memorandum instructing that all degree programs must retain the Filipino requirement in compliance with the instruction of the Supreme Court to issue a temporary restraining order.
Sir, following the TRO, is the position now of the Commission is to implement Filipino all throughout, or mag-a-appeal pa ba tayo to remove it?
We will wait for the Supreme Court to actually hear the issue, because we want to look at all the angles of it. So the Commission has not discussed or taken up the issue yet, because this was before our time, before my appointment as Commissioner. So we have not discussed it. We'll wait for the procedure of the Supreme Court to commence. Anyway, as long as the Supreme Court has not taken out the TRO, then it's still part of the curriculum.
Clarification lang, sir, yung internationalization na parang dahilan, do we maintain this, sir, up to this very moment? Or the present leadership of the CHED has a different view on this?
No, we have not taken up the issue in the commission. So I wouldn't be in a position to say the position of the commission. You want my personal position? I want to retain the Filipino requirement.
Last na lang po, sir. Ano pong gagawin ng CHED dun sa mga Filipino departments na na-dissolve as a result of the initial move to remove Filipino from the GE curriculum?
That's really up to the individual universities to work at. No, what is important because these are internal academic matters that is beyond the control of CHED. No, the internal governance of state universities and colleges is exercised by their Board of Regents. So the Board of Regents of each SUC should deal with the problem, and for the private schools, it is guided by the policies of the private university. So we cannot intervene in the internal governance of higher education institutions.
Sir, dun ulit sa free tuition, sir, ilang SUCs yung covered po natin?
113.
130.
Yes.
Then, sir, covered din ba dun yung mga nag-o-offer ng socialized tuition?
Yes. Okay. Magkakaproblema ng konti sa socialized tuition. Okay. Malaki yung possibility ng underreporting in the socialized tuition system. Let me explain why there is underreporting. No? In some state universities and colleges, they reported only the actual tuition income they collected. But for example, they have scholarships for their athletes, scholarship for those in their dance troupe, etc. These are scholarships given internally by the state university. Kasi wala namang loss of income sa university yan if you add 20 athletes or 50 athletes, give them full scholarship. That is technically no loss. No? Yung ibang state universities, they don't report that because these are internal scholarships within the SUC. No? They did not anticipate that they will have to factor this in their computation. Now, they have to cover all of that. There are also scholarships given, for example, by local government units na matagal magbayad, towards the end na magbabayad or towards the end of the year. Siyempre, mabagal ang release ng funds dyan. Yung ibang SUCs, ang nireport yung initial income collection lang. So, there are variances across SUCs. There are SUCs that did a very good job of reporting. So, dun sa hindi nag-underreport, there should be no problem. The other thing to consider is, when they reported their tuition income, out of the 4 years that they had, first year, kokonti ang enrollment because of senior high. Second year, third year, fourth year, full enrollment. Okay. Their fourth year is graduating. Their incoming freshman is also very few. So theoretically, they should have less students overall this coming year than in 2016. So theoretically, the money should be enough because you have the same set of collection of tuition to cover fewer students. But we don't know the extent of the problem until all the enrollment comes in. My own thinking is that it will not be a big problem. Maybe you have couple of universities that have a problem, but majority of the state universities and colleges, the money will be enough to cover everyone.
Sir, on the case of the UP system, kaya covered ba natin yun entirely up to the bracket E hanggang bracket A? Ganun?
Okay.
Or depende?
I wouldn't know because the UP Board of Regents has not discussed the issue as far as I know. No? And I don't know the extent of underreporting that they have. There's a problem when you have a socialized tuition system is because you don't tend to report the lower brackets where students are not paying tuition. You don't report that as income. But then you have to cover all of them now. So UP has to deal with it. The Board of Regents has to deal with it. It may become a problem for UP because their enrollment is high. You have about 57,000, 58,000 students. So any underreporting, you multiply it by the number of students, then the problem can become bigger. In most state universities, when the enrollment is a little lower, even if you underreport, you should be able to cover it. If your enrollment is 15,000 students, you can underreport a little bit, but it should. So the potential problems are with SUCs that have big enrollment. Mindanao State University, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, University of the Philippines. These are the three biggest enrollment, no? Ranging from 58,000 to about 71,000 students per university. Doon baka magka-problema.
Thank you, sir.
Questions? Jaro Rosales?
Good morning, Commissioner. Regarding po dun sa return service para sa mga medical students, gaano po katagal yung return service nila?
1:1. Every year that you are given tuition assistance, you have to stay in the country for 1 year. So if your medical program is 4 years, then you stay 4. If it's 5, then you stay for 5 years.
Ano po ang possible consequences kung hindi nila sundin ito?
Okay. The students and the parents have to sign a surety agreement. You don't comply with the terms, you return the tuition assistance of government plus interest. No, we have to take this seriously, because it's a contract that has to be observed. That contract is already existing in the UP. All the health-related courses in UP Manila are now covered by a return service agreement. Medicine, nursing, dentistry, physical therapy, they're all covered. So UP has been doing it for maybe about 8 years now. So there's sufficient experience on the part of UP on how to implement it and potential problems. So the technical working group we created are predominantly composed of people from UP Manila, so that they can use their experiences to craft a very good return service agreement for all the other 6 state universities and colleges.
Sir, for the record lang po, magkano po yung interest kung sakaling hindi
Gagawin pa lang nila yan. Gagawin pa lang. That will be the output of the technical working group. No?
Questions? Laila Salaveria?
Good morning, sir. Sir, yung advisory nyo for colleges to accept students from Marawi, does this cover both private and public?
Yes. Yes.
Sir, do you have an
We did that for Yolanda, by the way. So no necessary requirements, because if you're from Marawi, your records may not be there. Just to accept them and then let the documents follow.
Sir, do you have an estimate on how many college students from Marawi?
We wouldn't know. We've only received individual parents asking what to do with their children, etc. So we don't know how many will be transferring. No? In Yolanda, by the way, I was still with the University of the Philippines then. We accepted all the students from UP Palo and UP Tacloban and gave them financial assistance while they were with the University of the Philippines until the facilities in Tacloban were rebuilt. Now, we don't know yet how that would roll out in this case, but that we'll have to talk with the universities concerned. No? But it's just to facilitate things so that the victims will not have problems transferring to other schools.
Sir, will there be any special financial assistance to students from Marawi, or do they have to avail themselves of programs na available to everybody?
Sa ngayon, wala pa. We'll look at the gravity kung gaano karami. Baka hindi naman masyado marami. So, or maybe they'll transfer to universities in Mindanao so that the cost implication may not be that significant.
Thank you.
Okay. Question? Marisa Lalili, TV5.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir, just to follow up on Laila's question, will you also encourage the college students in Marawi to transfer to other universities, just like what DepEd did to elementary and high schools?
It's really the choice. We wouldn't know the actual situation on a student per student basis. What we want to do is to facilitate the process so that they don't have to worry about acceptance from other schools. Because we have received reports that some parents who were trying to transfer their students, the schools in Cebu were a little bit hedging because they didn't know how to deal with it. No? So the issuance of an advisory will solve that problem.
How about, sir, assistance to professors who also would like to transfer to other universities?
It's something that we will discuss, still have to discuss in the commission.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rose Novenario.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Meron po kayong programang in place or assistance doon po sa mga guro na nawalan ng trabaho dahil po doon sa full implementation po ng K-12. Kasi po
Okay.
walang
Yeah.
enrollees yung first year, di ba wala pong
Okay.
freshman.
Yes, Congress passed a K-12 transition fund in anticipation of the transition period because of senior high. They passed it in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. And CHED is implementing this K-12 program. This will cover both, number one, scholarships for faculty members who want to retool themselves while senior high is going on, because there was an expected reduction in enrollment of students. So there are faculty members who might not have classes to teach. So we urge them to take their master's and their PhD to complete their degree programs. Faculty members who would lose their jobs and can be seconded to other government agencies or can do professional work. It's also for faculty members who want professional retooling, not necessarily a degree program, but professional growth, etc. And also for projects of universities. Like, for example, you want to do a workshop for history teachers, while the transition is going on. So we've been doing this over 2 cycles already. There were some very interesting things that came out. It seems that the expected significant reduction in enrollment did not happen as badly as it was imagined. That's the first finding. So a lot of the K-12 money is underutilized as far as the anticipated number of affected faculty members is concerned. In many state universities and colleges, what they did was to accept senior high students. Remember, the DepEd put senior high, but they did not have facilities in many areas. Wala silang classrooms. So they asked the state universities, can we hold the classes in your facility? And the ones teaching it are the faculty of the state universities and colleges. There are also enrollees who are lifelong learners, meaning they did not immediately enroll in freshman, and during the transition period decided to enroll. So the reduction was not in the worst case scenario. Okay, so there are still funds in the K-12 program for those types of interventions, and we keep on encouraging the faculty members to avail of it, and for the schools to have programs that the K-12 fund will pay for. No?
Okay, last 2, Hannah and then Dexter Ganibe.
Sir, may consequence po ba tayong gagawin sa mga schools na hindi po i-accept yung mga students from Marawi?
Well, ang experience naman namin sa CHED is if you issue an advisory and you call their attention, they comply. There's no compelling reason naman for them not to accept the students. No? And also because we see this as a temporary situation, so that eventually the students might want to go back. So this is not a burden that we impose on the universities. It is an assistance that they must provide during times of crisis. So in our experience in Yolanda, wala namang university na nag-reject. They were very open and they accepted the challenge given to them. So we don't anticipate higher education institutions flatly telling students you cannot enroll. Yeah.
Sir, wala naman pong na-report, sir, na hindi tinanggap because of dahil mga Islam students.
Wala pa naman.
so
Wala
far.
pa naman. Yeah, wala pa naman.
Sir, are there plans po na magdagdag po tayo ng other courses na ililibre na rin po yung tuition fee next school year?
For
Ngayon, for medicine po, di ba? Like for nursing
okay.
students.
Yung sa medicine, unique ang medicine because we have problems with medical professionals historically in the country. Yan, there's no debate anymore that we lack doctors in many areas in the country, especially in far-flung areas. That's why this this intervention or this program of the Duterte administration is an immediate response to that problem. UP Manila was the one who initiated this a couple of years back because when they studied their graduates, as many as 90% of the graduates of UP College of Medicine immediately leave after they pass the medical boards to do residency abroad, many of them. And when they do residency abroad, they tend not to come back. Okay, so that's why UP put the mandatory return service in place. No? And if you look at the case of UP, it has addressed the problem significantly because by staying in the country, the students will have to take their residency here. And while doing their residency, then you have doctors. Because these are already, they already passed the medical board. So they are full-fledged doctors working in the residency program of hospitals. So that's the idea. It is to require them to do public service. And we hope that by doing public service, they will be encouraged, they like to do it, and they'll stay in the country after that. That is the dream or the plan, that they'll get to like what they're doing. What we have to make sure is that their transition from medical school to their residency is very good. So there is no reason for them not to comply with it, which means we have to work with local governments as far as provincial hospitals and district hospitals are concerned, with the Department of Health for government hospitals, and the local governments and the Department of Health for the Doctor to the Barrios program. Because the medical students or the new doctors may opt not to do their residency first. They may opt to practice immediately as Doctor to the Barrios, and that's also a very good option if they want to postpone their residency later on and practice immediately. So that's the objective of the program.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. Dexter Ganibe.
Hi, Commissioner. Good morning. Sir, clarification lang dun sa Yolanda, 540 yung
540 million. Yeah.
Sir, ito ay cash? Or
Yes.
dun sa eskwelahan lang ibibigay pag nag-enroll na yung estudyante?
No, the students will apply in the school because the school has the records. And the school will be able to check if they are students from Yolanda affected areas. And then the cash assistance will be given by the school to the student.
In cash?
Yes.
Ay.
Yes.
Okay, salamat po, Commissioner De Vera, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella.
We'd like to begin by giving the Joint Task Force Marawi updates on the situation in Marawi as of 6 p.m. of 19th June 2017. Just a few changes. Terrorists killed 258, or up by 1 since yesterday. And recovered firearms by government troops from terrorists now at 255, up by 5. And government casualties killed in action, 65 from 62. Significant developments: successful clearing of 16 buildings and 2 in progress. We'd like also to give an update on the donations. And as of yesterday, as of 2 p.m., 19 June 2017, for the families of our soldiers killed in action, there's been deposited 224,000 as of 2 p.m., 19 June. Okay. And for the evacuees from Marawi, as of yesterday, also at the same time, about 21,000 pesos. We'd like to show a short video. It's on Facebook. It was supposed to be shown here. Okay, thank you. All right. I'd like to, okay. On to other matters. Philippine growth prospects remain bright. This is from Oxford Business. The Oxford Business Group released the report, The Philippines 2017, saying that the Philippines ranks as one of the best performing economies in Southeast Asia. This growth is driven by factors such as the rapid increase in the domestic consumption, high foreign direct investments, and an upward growth of the services sector. It is now safe to say that the Philippines is now well established, so investors know what the opportunities are, and they are well marked, said Mr. Polius Conchinas of Oxford Business Group, Managing Editor for Asia. Also, the Philippines goes up a notch in Global Innovation Index. In the 2017 Global Innovation Index, GII, the Philippines has improved its overall GII rank, reaching 73rd place, or a notch higher than its previous rank of 74 last year. Specifically, the report has also highlighted the country's improvement in the information communication technology services export, making the Philippines the lead country in this sector among ASEAN countries. The Duterte administration, through the Philippine Development Plan 2017-2022, aims to have tangible improvements in the information and communications technology sector in the country to further enhance sectors such as agriculture, education, business, and other services. Also, a bit of good news, CALX, Calax Laguna segment breaks ground. The Department of Public Works and Highways has officially announced yesterday, June 19, the start of the construction of an 18-kilometer Laguna section of the Cavite-Laguna Expressway, requiring an amount of 35.425 billion. The road project is expected to decongest traffic along Governor's Drive, Aguinaldo Highway, and Santa Rosa Tagaytay Road, which will lessen the travel time from Cavitex to SLEX by 45 minutes once completed by 2020. We're open for a few questions.
Okay, question. Tuesday New, DCWB.
Sir, what is the President's reaction or take in the new attack of New People's Army in Maasin, Iloilo?
Well, first and foremost, it's unfortunate that the NPA raid of the station in Iloilo happened on the same day that the government reciprocated the NDF's declaration to refrain from undertaking offensive operations in Mindanao. However, although the attack was not in Mindanao, the act was clearly, like we said, opportunistic. So we have asked the NDF to call on their armed comrades on the ground to, to respond in kind and show genuine sincerity on the confidence-building measure initiated by both the government and their side. So basically, we want a firmer response.
Sir, there are some calls from some senators urging the President not to pursue with the peace talk anymore with the CPP-NDF, considering that they cannot control their armed group from launching attacks. Will the President heed to these calls?
As of this moment, there's no instruction from the President to discontinue the government's peace negotiations.
Thank you.
Follow-up sa NPA. Other issue? Laila Salaveria.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Sir, some U.S. senators are concerned that Marawi is becoming the latest hub for the Islamic State, and they're suggesting that the U.S. expand its role in Marawi, short of joining actual combat. Is the palace open to the idea of increasing the U.S. assistance in the fighting?
Well, at this stage, I suppose we'll have to take the position that it's unlikely for Marawi to become a new hub for IS fighters. The Philippine military has already preempted the Mote Group from establishing a wilayat or province in Marawi. So the role of the U.S. in relation to the ISF is to provide technical assistance as prescribed by the Constitution, and we will abide by that.
How about increasing the amount of assistance they're providing just to hasten the end of the conflict? Is the palace open to that idea?
Let's go by what is already present, technical assistance.
So is this an indication that the relationship between the Philippines and the U.S. is improving?
Well, it was always existing like that, okay, right? As General Padilla has expressed, that that particular aspect of agreement was always in existence.
But the President earlier said he doesn't want to see any foreign troops in the country. So is he wavering on that position?
he's accepted the situation at this stage. Okay.
Okay, follow up sa Marawi. Other issue? Laila, other issue.
Sir, pending the release of the 10 billion Bangon Marawi Fund, what is the government doing to help the evacuees who are suffering from illnesses and some of them are dying?
As you know, as we've already reported a few days earlier, also, this matter is under the DSWD and DOH, and I think they have already made their own assessment of the situation, and they made their own efforts regarding that matter.
Follow up, JP Bencito.
Hi sir, good morning. Sir, on the rehabilitation pa rin, possible kaya na mangyari din yung ginawa sa Yolanda na hindi na pinabalik yung mga residente doon sa mga conflict-affected areas?
We'll have to wait for the assessment regarding that matter. Okay, we cannot. Wag po natin pangunahan yung situation.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Rose.
Sir, hingin lang po yung update regarding po dun sa ad interim appointments kung nag-release na po ba ang office ng Executive Secretary. Since June 2 pa po na-bypass yung mga
Are you sure?
Secretary Designate.
Okay, officially we have not yet received any. Okay. Any updates? Okay.
Okay. Sir, official statement po ng Malacañang regarding po sa OFW acquitted from murder sa UAE.
All right. It's not yet official also. All right. DFA will have to come out with official statement and then we will refer to the
Sa side po
matter.
natin, sir.
Come again?
Reaction regarding po.
We don't have an official notice on the matter. Okay.
Okay, questions? Okay,
Okay.
Ian Cruz, GMA 7.
Secretary, good
Yes.
morning po. May assistance po ba yung mga sailors natin, yung mga Pilipino doon sa Japan, yung nagkabanggaan po ng USS Fitzgerald tsaka yung ACX?
We'll have to wait upon recommendation of the embassy in Tokyo.
Okay, thank you, Ian. Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Thank you, Ched Commissioner De Vera. Back to our main studio sa Radyo ng Bayan and PTV.